Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button for more engaging content. And as a horror enthusiast, I've witnessed my fair share of chilling tales, but the climax of Salem's Lot left a lasting impression on me. The tragic demise of Dr. Cody, a character whose journey was just beginning to unfold, uh, was undoubtedly heart-wrenching. Um, Her life cut short by Anne Norton in a misguided attempt to protect her own twisted agenda serves as a grim reminder that not all battles can be won, and sometimes the good guys fall along the way. Um, the small town of Salem experiences a chilling invasion by the vampire Barlow in 1975, as depicted in Stephen King's second published novel, Salem's Lot. Um, this unsettling tale marked the introduction of King's unique take on vampires and resulted in numerous deaths, with many victims later becoming vampires themselves. Critics and readers alike embraced this dark narrative, making it one of King's most cherished works. Um, but over time, Salem's Lot has been adapted multiple times, including two television miniseries in 1979 and 2004. However, in the year 2024, the story finally received its first feature film adaptation under the guidance of director Gary Dauberman. The chilling tale of Salem's Lot unfolds, featuring writer Ben Mears seeking inspiration in his old hometown. Upon his return to Salem's Lot, a young boy goes missing, setting the stage for a series of enigmatic and heartrending incidents that gradually reveal the unsettling truth. The town is under attack by bloodthirsty vampire Barlow, who transforms most of his victims into creatures of the night. Into Sea of How. Consequently, the town experiences numerous deaths in Salem's Lot, though not every soul meets an eternal fate as a vampire. And one of Barlow's initial victims is Ralph Glitt, accompanied by his brother Danny. Straker kidnaps Ralph, and later Barlow claims him as a victim, feeding on the young boy, resulting in his death. Shortly following this event, Danny is coaxed outside his house under cover of darkness by an enigmatic entity. Falling ill, he's admitted to the hospital where doctors diagnose him with anemia. However, the truth is kind of far more sinister. Barlow had bitten him, and he was in the throes of transforming into a vampire. The next evening, following his funeral, Danny succumbs to his condition and rises as a newly turned vampire after drinking blood from his transfusion in a desperate attempt to survive. In the story, Danny eventually sets his sights on his mother, Marjorie, who turns into a vampire as well. However, she meets her end at the hands of Ben and Susan after she attacks Dr. Cody. The whereabouts or outcome of Danny and Ralph's father remain unclear, but it is implied that he too becomes a vampire later on. Later in the narrative, Danny meets his demise at Stryker and Barlow's antique shop, killed by Mark. Mike Ryerson, employed as the caretaker of Salem's Lot Cemetery, finds himself in a chilling predicament, caught at an unwanted place during a particularly terrifying time. To clarify, Mike is the first victim in this chilling series of events. In a later turn of events, Mike is spotted by Matt Burke at a nearby tavern, leading that to assume he's unwell, with the intention of taking him to a doctor the next day. Matt extends an invitation for him to stay at his residence. However, things take a drastic turn when Mike metamorphoses into a vampire at Matt's home, attempting to assault Matt. In self-defense, Matt uses a cross to ward off Mike, ultimately leading to Mike's eviction from the dwelling. Alternatively stated, Mike meets his end outside the church, told by Ben. Matt Burke, a teacher at Salems lot, is among the rare townsfolk who warmly receive Ben Mears upon his return. Little does everyone know, Matt is the one who first discerns that the town is under the curse of vampires, with Mike being their latest victim, and due to Matt's kind of keen observation and bravery, Ben, Susan, and others become aware of this chilling truth. Matt is resolute on tracking down Barlow and eliminating him as a threat. He allies with Mark, infiltrating the Marston house with the intention of slaying Barlow, but alas, they find themselves outmatched by Barlow and Straker's cunning and speed. Richard Straker serves as Barlow's human aide, performing numerous tasks for him, including locating individuals for Barlow to feed upon. And the relationship between these two characters stirs up speculation about Straker's nature, whether he's human, vampire, or half vampire. However, it is revealed that he is entirely human, merely a devoted servant to Barlow. And at the Marston house, Mark, an enthusiast of Houdini's magic and a novice magician himself, finds himself bound and suspended upside down. After Straker leaves the room, Mark uses a metal object to strike Straker in the face, ensuring that Barlow's servant is truly deceased before administering another blow. Susan doesn't express any skepticism towards Matt Burke's assertions about vampires ruling over the lot. That Susan swiftly develops a connection with Ben, and their relationship deepens rapidly, making her demise particularly difficult for both Ben and viewers. Alongside Ben, Matt, Mark, Dr. Cody, and Father Callahan, Susan embarks on a quest to locate Barlow and eliminate him. However, it was unexpected that Susan's mother, Anne, was inching towards the vampire at some point, and encounters Straker and gets lured by Barlow into serving him, which leads to a trap being set for Susan at their residence. In an unexpected turn of events, a vampire ambushes Susan, regardless of Ben's attempts. He fails to prevent Susan from turning into a vampire before they reach the church where Dr. Cody waits. Later on at the drive-in, Ben hesitates to kill Susan when he discovers her trapped in her car, but eventually does so once night falls and she attacks him instead. Mark's parents are skeptical of both him and Father Callahan, making it impossible to persuade them to head to the church before nightfall. A terrified teenager named Mark, stand at a distance as Barlow, the dreadful intruder, knocks on our Petrie home, My father, unaware of the impending doom, uh, opens the door, but it's a fatal mistake. Um, Barlow strikes him down cruelly. Uh, uh, my heart races as I witness this horrifying scene unfold before my eyes. Father Callahan serves as the local priest, yet he battles with his religious beliefs. Uh, uh, Earlier in the film, at the drive-in, Susan indicates Callahan's vehicle to Ben and claims that he frequently drinks there. Um, Despite this, Father Callahan makes efforts to assist Ben and others in battling the vampires, but ultimately meets his end at the hands of Barlow. It is also worth noting that after Barlow murders Mark's parents, he instructs Mark to flee. When they encounter each other, while Barlow holds a cross, uh, it's clear that Barlow recognizes Father Callahan's faith isn't as robust as it needs to be, which makes him an easy target for Barlow. Barlow teases him with this weakness, causing the cross to lose its effect, and leaving Callahan defenseless. In the end, Barlow slays Father Callahan, but we don't witness him turning into a vampire again in the rest of Salem's Lot. So his final destiny remains uncertain. Parkins Gillespie serves as a constable in Salem's Lot and makes his first appearance when Callahan visits the police station following an incident at the drive-in. Later, he goes to Matt's house upon receiving a call from him about Mike's body. However, Parkins' most memorable scene in Salem's Lot occurs when Dr. Cody seeks his help, but he dismisses any talk of vampires. Parkins informs Dr. Cody that she should depart from the lot swiftly, just as he intends to do so himself. But instead, she proceeds to the church for rendezvous with Ben and the others. On this very night at the church, after Ben manages to evade the vampires and slays Mike, the bloodthirsty creatures hurl Parkins' corpse through a window and into this sacred place. Uh, it remains ambiguous whether Parkins transforms into a vampire or meets his end in this violent incident. Um, Dr. Cody is among the last standing individuals in the lot, encountering an unforeseen hurdle at a drive-in. It takes Dr. Cody some time to acknowledge that Salem's Lot is inhabited by vampires and that Danny Glick didn't succumb to anemia. However, it isn't until he witnesses Marjorie Glick's corpse reanimating that Cody becomes convinced of the supernatural presence. The biggest case is that Maginese's sense of Cody power may be a power to really Sam. Thanks to a rabies vaccine she carries in her bag, Cody manages to thwart the effects of the bite and lives on, but tragically meets her demise in 3 of Salem's Lot. In a fateful turn of events, as she approaches Susan's trunk, where she lies asleep, she is mortally wounded by Anne, who has been assigned to safeguard the vampires. This cruel conclusion for Dr. Cody is particularly unjust, considering how close she was to reaching the story's end. Anne strongly desires for her daughter to stay in the town of Lot and is prepared to go to great lengths to achieve this, such as setting up relationships that don't appeal to Susan, Moreover, Anne disapproves of Susan and Ben's relationship and views working for Barlow as a significant opportunity, although the specifics of their arrangement remain unclear in them. Anne approaches her new role with zeal and ends up shooting at Ben, Mark, and Cody during a drive-in movie, resulting in Cody's death. In a swift turn of events, Mark emerges and rams Anne with his vehicle, effectively ending her life on the spot. As Anne approaches Ben with no escape in sight, Mark intervenes abruptly. The main vampire, Kurt Barlow, is killed in Salem's lot. Initially, Straker arrives at the lot to launch his antique shop, Straker and Barlow, and reside in the Marston house with Barlow supposedly on a lengthy business trip. In truth, Barlow is concealed in the Marston house's basement using Straker to hunt for victims. As some of the lot's residents who have been transformed speak of Master Barlow, it gradually becomes apparent to Ben and the others that he is the primary antagonist from the community. They need to vanquish. And in the movie Salem's Lot, Ben and Mark encounter Barlow at a drive-in theater. It seems like Barlow is about to murder Mark, but fortunately, Ben suddenly appears with a stake and stabs Barlow through, effectively killing him. The light in Barlow's eyes vanishes just as it does for the other vampires killed in the film, leaving no room for doubt that the main vampire has finally been eliminated. And that's the story of the 14 major deaths in Salem's Lot. And it's a chilling tale of vampires and the horrors they bring. As the saying goes, you can't keep a good vampire down. But in this case, Ben and Mark were able to keep Barlow down for good. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,